Today we're working with ProKut chain again, and we're going to look at techniques to sharpen a chain. Sharpening a chain is very important for the safe use of chainsaws. Blunt chains force you to work harder and force the saw through the timber. The saw should cut at its own speed with minimum pressure and guidance. So let's look at how we can sharpen a chainsaw. The first thing we need to do is secure the chainsaw, and we're going to do that today using a stump vise, or you might use your vise that's in your shed. So we're going to place this on our stump, and we'll use a hammer, or in this case our axe, to secure the vise. We're going to take the chainsaw and we'll put it between the vise, making sure that the chain isn't rubbing on the bottom, and tighten it in place. In order to sharpen a chainsaw correctly, we need to understand what we're sharpening. The chain is made from mild steel, and it has to be mild steel to handle the speeds that the chain travels around the bar. If it was made from a hardened steel, it would shatter. In order to have a sharp edge on mild steel, which is very soft, it is chrome plated, and that's why every tooth has chrome or looks silver. That is actually our cutting edge. When we're filing a chain, we are actually undermining that chrome edge so that it becomes sharp. In order to use the file, we will place the file between the tooth in the raker. The file guide sits on top of the tooth and the raker holding it in place naturally. We then also look at the markings that are on top of the file guide. Keeping them parallel to the bar gives us the correct angle. In this case, we're working with 30 degrees. Now we want to align our body, holding on to the end of the file. We draw the file back without pressure, and applying some pressure and keeping our arm in line, we push forward, sharpening the tooth. And we want to continue to do that until the tooth presents as sharp. Chain break off, move the tooth forward to the next one so that we are lining it up with our body. Chain break back on again, and we push through, sharpening the tooth. It's important to wear gloves in this process, as you are going to make the tooth razor sharp, and should you slip, you'll want protection. It's very important to go from the underside or the inside of the tooth and sharpen to the outside. This tooth here, if we sharpen from the outside in, our file will hit the chrome first, blunting the file and reducing its effectiveness. Basically, we want to rinse and repeat, and if you like, you can mark the tooth you started with a Nico pen. So as we get around and we sharpen each tooth, we'll know that we have completed the task. Another important part of the chain is the depth gauge. It's the fin-like piece of metal sticking up in front of the tooth, controlling how deep the tooth cuts. As we sharpen the chainsaw over many times, the tooth becomes lower and lower, and we need to lower the depth gauge as well. To do this, we can also use a guide that we place over the tooth, allowing the depth gauge to protrude. Using a flat file, we simply push across, filing off anything that's sticking up. Do one side at a time. So on this side, I'm doing the right side. I push forward, and I'll do all right side teeth before turning the chainsaw around and doing the other side. With both the teeth and the depth gauge filed, the saw is now ready to use.